All right, guys, so I'm going to go through what you're going to be doing in your writing today. This is session 1 because we're getting started with our realistic fiction stories in a real way. I'm going to tell you right now, this can be really hard, especially if you're not really paying close attention to what we're doing. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So this is going to be an important day in your life as a writer because you're about to start gathering ideas of stories. And really, the most important thing we're going to be teaching you today is, just like with any other type of writer, you get a lot of your ideas by paying attention to the small moments from your own life. So even though we're writing fiction, thinking about the moments or the memories from your own life is where we're going to come up with our ideas for our stories that we're going to write. So when I was, I guess around your age in junior high, I kind of thought that writers got their ideas kind of from the clouds. Like they just would be thinking and an idea for a story would just pop into their head and then they'd write a book. But now that I'm older and I've written myself, I kind of realized that most writers get ideas for stories, even the ones they make up, from their real life. Like I know the guy who wrote The Fault in Our Stars, which is a book about a kid dying from cancer, I believe. I know that author got the idea for that book because he had a friend that was very sick. So he took that idea and he was able to change it into a whole fiction story. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Now, over here it says My Strong Emotion Story, and we're going to get to that in a minute, but I want to talk to you real quick. The strategies we're going to show you today, the strategies on coming up with stories from your own life, you hopefully have been doing these strategies since elementary school. The work that makes it junior high level is taking your personal narrative idea, your story from your own life idea, and changing it into a fiction story. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to exit out of this because I don't like this one as much. So I'm going to exit out of this. We'll come back to the slides in a minute. And I'm going to type. So one of the strategies that I want you to try to do, and the sub, if you're listening, you may even hit pause occasionally throughout this video to give them a chance to do it right after I do it. That might help a little bit. So the first strategy I'm going to do is we are going to think of a strong emotion, and it may work well if we all think of the same one. So let's go ahead and start with anger. So everyone, take a moment right now. Think of a time that you were angry. Think of a moment in your life when you were just really angry. Okay, now hold on to that moment. I'm going to first show you what I did with my moment, and then you're going to do it with your moment too. So with my moment when I was angry, I'm going to write down just a quick description of that story. I got a new car for Christmas, and the first time I drove it, I was hit by a drunk driver. The car was ruined. Okay, so that's a true story from my life. That's a time when I was really angry. I was very excited about this new car. I went and took it out for a ride, and I was hit by a drunk driver, and immediately the car was ruined. It was totaled. I had to get a different car. So, Mr. Smith, if you don't mind pausing the video, and students, while the video is paused, go ahead and write your quick anger moment, a time from your life when you were angry. If you're having a hard time thinking about that, think of times that you got in arguments or fights, maybe with a brother or a sister or a mom or a dad or a teacher even. Think also about times maybe that you got in trouble. That's a way that we get angry really fast, and you were punished for something. So Mr. Smith, if you don't mind pausing the video and let students come up with maybe 1 or 2 sentences about a time that they were angry. Okay, now I'm going to assume, Mr. Smith, that you've unpaused the video at this point. Students have written down the sentence or two about a time that they were angry. And what we're going to do now, and this is the hard part, this is the part that makes it junior high level writing, is we need to think hard. How can we take this idea, this memory from our life, how can we take that and make it into a brand new idea that's going to be a realistic fiction story? And this part could be frustrating. I'm not going to lie to you. You may be sitting there and you may go, I have no idea how to do that. Well, I'm going to do it 2 times, and then you're going to try it. And even if you're frustrated, even if you're not sure how to do this, just keep trying, and we'll eventually get there. If you can walk out of that classroom today with one idea down on paper, then you succeeded. So what I'm going to do is I got a new car for Christmas, and the first time I drove it, I was hit by a drunk driver. The car was ruined. So I'm thinking about that. You know, in my real life story, I didn't really get hurt too bad. I didn't have to go to the hospital. Nothing really bad happened. So I'm wondering, what if there's a fiction story out there about someone who's in such a bad car accident that they're hospitalized in the intensive care unit, the ICU, where they put patients that are really, really hurt bad. So that's my realistic fiction story. So I'm going to write a 16-year-old boy is in a car accident, and it's so bad they are in the ICU at the hospital. Sorry, Mr. Gorka's talking real quick. Just a moment.
We have one bus on. We'll roll that bus as soon as everybody loads, and we'll wait for the other buses to arrive. All late bus riders should be at the bus ramp.
Okay, so that's one idea, and I'm already thinking about how that story could go when I go to write it. Maybe it's about his parents and their worry about him. Maybe his best friends come and check up on him. Everyone's wanting him to pull through, and it can go so many different directions from there. So that's one story that I got from this one real story from my life. So let me fix that real quick. Okay, now I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to come up with another story. What if this next story I come up with doesn't have to do with car wrecks at all? Because a part of my real life story is getting a present and then having it immediately taken away. What if there's a story there? I'm going to write a boy gets a BB gun for his birthday and gets it taken away when he can't follow his dad's rules. Okay. So I came up with 2 story ideas, realistic fiction story ideas, based off of my real life memory. Mr. Smith, if you don't mind pausing the video again and give them a good amount of time to write this one out now. Let's go ahead and say pause it for 10, 15 minutes. You may need to walk around the room and help students with this part. This can be a hard, challenging part. You may have to generate some ideas with them and kind of get them going in the right direction. So go ahead and pause the video. Good luck writing those story ideas, and come back after about 10, 15 minutes. Okay, so you're back. What I want to do is I want to bring this back up. So we looked, I'm just going to fast forward ahead. So we looked at one strategy, which is thinking of a strong emotion and a time we felt that way. And the emotion we chose was anger. You can keep doing this, but you don't have to keep doing it with anger. You can do times that you felt super excited or super depressed, super nervous, embarrassed. Any of these will work. So that's definitely one strategy. But I also want to give you these other strategies that you can do. So this first one says, think of a person who matters to you. So maybe a mom, dad, brother, sister, best friend. And list some memories you have with that person, some small moment stories. And then once you're done with that, you're going to do the same thing we just did. You take that real life memory and then you come up with 1 or 2 realistic fiction stories that are kind of inspired or based off that real life memory. Okay, strategy 2. Think of first times or last times you did something. So maybe the first time you rode a roller coaster, or the last time You got to see your friend before they moved across the state. And then you're going to do the same thing. Write out that memory and then come up with a couple fiction story ideas based off of that. And then the last strategy you can try out is think of memories or moments that really matter to you because you learned something or you realized something. So I realized that I actually am smart. What's the memory that I realized that? And then you can come up with a couple realistic fiction stories from that. I guess the main point is you have more than one strategy you can use to come up with these realistic fiction story ideas. Today is all about coming up with those ideas, and hopefully you already came up with one or two. If there's any time left over in your writing period, which is till the bell rings for you guys to switch classes, maybe try out these other strategies or try out a different emotion, but see how many realistic fiction story ideas you can actually come up with. All right, good luck, guys. I know you're going to do awesome, so please work hard and do awesome.